What's up? What's up? I'm back. I'm about to get into this Amos before I go back to Obadiah. But Amos 9:13 kind of was referring right to what I was talking about. The time will come, says the Lord, when the grains and the grapes will grow faster. Then they can be harvested, and the terrace vineyards of the hills of Israel will drip with sweet wine. And that's just us being ripe. And pretty much from like the 1980s, like we've been coming into this consciousness, or people have been talking about the indigo children and shit like that, or however many, whatever it's been, like being all type of little different names they come up with. But just go to show you, like it was a slow process, but ever since then it's kind of been speeding up. And you can even tell by like technology, like the how all these different distractions from it switched from transgender to AI to all type of shit, and it's happening so fast, and it's because we're waking up. They need the same amount of distractions to keep us asleep in a sense. And I just wanted to start there, but I'm gonna kind of go back, and this is kind of to the people of Israel that think they're going to be saved just because just because they're black, or just because they're not whoever. I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to ever think from that reality, bro, because I mean it's hard to think you don't have to put in work. But let me see where I want to start in Amos. This is pretty much just talking about our destruction. And even if they dig down to the place of the dead, I will reach down and pull them up. Even if they climb into the heavens, I will bring them down. Even if they hide from the very mountaintops of a Carmel, my bad, I will search them out and capture them. Even if they hide at the bottom of the ocean. Damn, this shit's crazy, because it could be like Atlantis, people in the inner world, people in higher dimensions that's maybe that we can't see, living in what you call space or some shit. But who knows? I will see sea serpents to bite them. Even if their enemies drive them to exile, I will command the sword to kill them there. And that's pretty much us. We can't escape this. No matter if you say you want to go to Africa, you want to go wherever, like wherever you go to, like until this prophecy is up, until this day of this trouble is up, we're gonna go through this shit. And that was pretty much Amos 2 through 4. Well, let me finish 4. I will command this. No, I finished 4. Okay. And this kind of gets me. It says it rising and falling, and they even say it rising and kind of there. Like you can go underground, you go above ground. Like you still gonna be back in reality when it comes to this time of trouble, in a sense. Like, and that's like spiritually, like you could be faking it or whatever. And this kind of go to, it say the Lord of the heavens armies touches the land, and it melts, and the people mourn. The ground rises like the Nile at flood time, and then it sinks again. And it's kind of like, if you think about it like us, like, bro, we might think we're doing good on this world, and then there'd be other points where we feel like this world is against us, and it just go to show you, like, it's a whole part of the mourning process, in a sense, and realizing why we're mourning. This is Amos 8 or 9:8. I am sovereign Lord. Am I watching the sovereign Lord, am watching the sinful nation of Israel. I will destroy it from the face of the earth, but I will never completely destroy the family of Israel, says the Lord. For I will command and will shake Israel along the nations, and a grain is shaken in a steve, yet not one true carnal will be lost, but all sinners will die by the sword. And I just go to the people, like, God's children been spread out in between a bunch of nations. Even his own nation is lost. And like I say, like, bro, we think our people is for us, but they'll bring you the worse than any other nation. And it just go to show you, like, they're a hateful sinner. Like, we've been doing this shit for a long time too. Like, it ain't all just about the white people and all and shit like that. Honestly, it's just being real. Like, it's so many different nations that you can show that went against at least God's children. And it says not one true carnal will be lost, because the true carnal of God's children, the ones that's not trying to be of this world, the ones constantly trying to get out. And when he shake this world up, not one will be lost. Not one will touch the ground. But all sinners will die by the sword. And that's pretty much Period. I talk about the sword being a sword, and if you're a sinner and you think you got to fight these wars, you think you got to make change, you're going to die by the sword. I guarantee you, because I'm not trying to fight no wars in this world, because this is not my world. You know, I don't give a fuck about this. So I can't wait till this bitch burns. So it's nothing I'm willing really to want to change. And that's the difference between, you know, God's children and people that's trying to get out versus people that's stuck in this humanity and always trying to fix some shit. Have fun. That's how I feel. But Amos 9:11 starts to lighten up for, you know, the people that's chosen, or the people that's making or choosing to be chosen, in a sense. In the day I will restore the fallen house of the David. I will repair its damaged walls from the ruins. I will rebuild it and restore its former glory. And Israel will possess what is left of Edom, and all nations that I have called to be mine. And when you hear Israel, you get happy again, because you're like, oh, I'm part of Israel. I'm from the black seed of Isis. My father's Ra, and I'm the Elohim, all God's known and unknown. Yeah, but you was choosing to be of this world. So I mean, how godly were you? And that's just being honest. Like, just using that word, period. How godly are you if you so trapped in this world and trying to change everything and thinking shit gonna harm you? If chemtrails, like I used to talk about chemtrails, but it's a part of my growth. But how strong are you if you think these poisons can really kill you? Like, no weapon should prosper. Remember, no weapon. And if you don't believe that, that means you believe this world is more powerful than God. So how godly are you? Let's see. This was Amos 11-12. Israel will possess what's left, and the nations I will call to be mine. The Lord has spoken and will do these things. Amos 9:13, and I'm going to just keep going. The time will come, this says the Lord, the grains and the grapes will grow faster. I talked about this. That's the sweet vine. Amos 9:14, I will bring my exiled people of Israel back from the distant lands and rebuild their ruined cities and live in them again. They will plant vineyards and gardens, and they will eat their crops and drink their wine. And I talk about how no matter how hard you work in this reality, you'll never get your just due, but due to taxes, due to capitalism, due to the pyramid schemes of this reality. And they just go to, once we get our land back, whatever seeds we plant, we're gonna, like, we get all of it. We don't have to, like, share with nobody. Like, it's ours. We don't gotta pay up or owe nobody. I will firmly plant them there in their own land. They will never have to be uprooted again from the land I have given them, says the Lord. And that's Amos 9:14 through 9:15. And yeah, like I said, I was kind of like with the white. I was kind of talking about the white seed and Obadiah, so it only made sense to talk about the people that's lost in the Israel, like, reality too shit. Well, not reality, but whatever seed, however you want to say that shit. I don't give a fuck about words. All right, I'm going back to Obadiah. Just to kind of throw this, now you know who God's children are. The people that's not of this world. And if you believe I'm using wrong perspectives, read it for yourself, man. Fam. Obadiah 1:12. You should not have gloated when they were exiled, your relatives, to a distant land. You should not have rejoiced when people of Judah suffered such misfortune. You should not have spoken arrogantly in their times of trouble. Terrible times of trouble. And that just go to show what type of people y'all were. Y'all wasn't trying to help us. Y'all only was benefiting off our brokenness and our calamities. And go even more into it. Obadiah 1:13. You should not have plundered the land of Israel when they were suffering such calamity. You should have not gloated in their destruction. When they were suffering in such calamity, you should not have seized their wealth when they were suffering in such calamity. And it just go to, like, people like warmongers that give guns to both sides. Like, they're gonna do whatever they gotta do so they'll win no matter what. And that's pretty much what y'all did. Y'all could have helped us, but y'all seen more benefits in our weakness, and y'all rather use us and, you know, use our brokenness for y'all benefit instead of working with us, which would have probably been harder in the short run, but in the long run, you know, it would have probably been better for the both of us. But hey, we already chose our journeys. Ain't no changing it now. Okay, let's get back into it. That was 13. You should not have Obadiah 1:14, you should not have stood at the crossroads killing those who tried to escape. And they go to the people, they got that Christ energy. Like, God's children, bro, we be trying to get out this world. We be trying to warn people, but they constantly censor our shit. They constantly muffle us. They constantly imprison us. They constantly kill us. So their reality can stay, well, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it's peaceful, working, whatever. I don't like it, so fuck it. I don't want to give it a good connotation. But you should not have captured the survivors and handed them over in their terrible times of trouble. Right? You should have helped them. But you didn't. Obadiah 1:15, the day is near when I, the Lord, will judge the godless nations. And like I said, it was good in Amos that we talked about even the Israels that was lost. Like, y'all godless people. So you can't expect to rise with your brother as a white man or a black man. You can't expect to rise with your brothers that's been doing the work, that's been choosing to get out, and think you just gonna ride their coattails. And I mean, you're not gonna get the same shit we getting, period. We're putting in way more work. There's levels to this shit, fam. Will judge all godless nations, and you have done to Israel, so it will be done to you. All your evil deeds will fall back onto your head. Just as you swallow this 16, just as you swallow my people on a holy mountain, you and the surrounding nations will swallow the punishment I pour out to you. And that's the thing, like they use God's gifts. They capitalize on this as much as possible. Edomites and plenty of other nations. And it's about that time y'all got to come back and get that just due. You're going to drink what you dished out. And like I said, there's levels to this shit. The Edomites is they're fried. There's other nations that haven't done as worse to us, but they still got to go through that shit, point blank, period. Just like we had to go through ours. You seen how rough Amos was, fam. He was like, if I got enough time, I'll go back to it. I didn't even read all of Amos, but he was saying, like, I don't want to help these people. And I don't blame them. They ain't want to help themselves. It's truth. It's the truth. I wouldn't want to help nobody that ain't trying to help them. Help themselves, bro. You gonna drag me down, slow me down. Okay. Obadiah 1:15. The day is near. Okay. 16. Just as the swallowed up my people. 17. I already read that. Sorry, guys. 17. But Jerusalem will become the refugees for those who escape. It will be a holy place, and these people of Israel will come back to reclaim their inheritance. And Jerusalem is the soul. You can call it also maybe the mind. And just like how Israel is the black people, and it's not necessarily a place, same with Jerusalem. It's talking about something that's inside, with most of the Bible is talking about. But you do have the physical things too. And it says you will reclaim your inheritance. The people of Israel will be raging with fire, and Edom a field of dry stubble. The descendants of Joseph will be a flame roaring across the devouring everything. There will be no survivors, Edom. Like, bro, you getting what you tried to do to us. You tried to wipe us out. You genocide us in many areas, but you couldn't get rid of us completely. But we're going to show you how to really get down. Get down. Here it is. Let's go back to Amos. But that's my favorite quote. Because people be so scared to have that rage in them because, you know, white people tell them, hey, be peaceful. But they are the sword. They have no peace. Straight up and down. And this going back to Amos. Just to talk about the people of Israel. Like, white people think, oh, we're crazy. We keep doing, like, we're talking all that hard shit because we're traumatized. Nah, maybe. But it's also telling you, hey, we've been through shit. We're trying to tell you what's real. Listen, you don't know. Truly. You haven't got it yet. You haven't seen Jacob's trouble. You ain't really been through that shit. You've seen it from the outside, but you really haven't experienced it. And the things that y'all call suffering and struggling, I'm laughing, by the way. It's a fucking joke. Alright, strike the top of the temple's columns so the foundations will shake. Bring down a roof on their heads of the people below. I will kill them with the sword. Those who survive, no one will escape. And that's when they go into you can dig down into the place of the dead, or you can go into the heavens. And he said, at this all the way to Amos 9:4, it says, even if their enemies drive them to exile, I will command the sword them there. sword to kill them there. I determined to bring disaster upon them and not to help them, because they need to wake the fuck up. Hey, we all had to go through it. Don't